Why would it be like MA? What is MA?
I
Master.
don't know. Master. So wait, you've never shot a revolver, but IDPA says you're a revolver master?
Not a revolver. So I don't know why. Can you read this? Can you read that?
No.
Well, it has no club in revolver.
You know what, Gaston?
So,
We just went live, and I'll tell you something. Nobody gives a shit about your IDPA classification anyway.
and the practical shooting, I'm you. Like it's like me, you. Okay. That's my pin. Please don't use it.
All right, welcome to the Practical Pistol Show. My name's Ben Stegger, here to answer your shooting questions. Joining us today, Nick, who you all know and love, Grandmaster Nick.
Yes.
And a new face, straight from Buenos Aires, Argentina, Gaston, unclassified Gaston.
I am. I should like an unclassified.
Yeah, you are. So for people who don't know you, you're on Team Bursa, and your goal on that team is to make the guns a little bit less shit, right?
You could say that. I'm not allowed to say that, but you can say it, okay?
Okay. And you've won the Pan Americans before in IPSC. You've won Argentinian Nationals a few times.
3 times in a row, yeah.
Okay. No big deal, though, right?
I wouldn't say that if I were you. You should come here and beat those guys.
All right, maybe in January.
Okay.
All right, let's get rolling. Today's discussion topic. This will hit near and dear to your heart, Gaston. A guy teed up a thread on Duty Project called "Gaming People Astray." He says, "So I did some serious gamer stuff at the local, and not sure how I feel about it. Yeah, at the end of the day, I got the 2-cent ribbon, so whatever. Okay, I kind of feel bad and want your opinion. The stage was this hoser deal where you were basically sitting at a picnic table, and the shooting area is just around the table. You have 4 paper and 3 poppers, kind of hidden by barrels where you'd have to scoot around. So in the walkthrough, I start acting like I'm going to jump up on the table, but I know all along I'm not. I start talking it up with a bud of mine, like, yeah, this is the best way to do it, but my goal is just to lure this other guy I'm competing against. Well, he shoots first and jumps up on the table, which is much, much slower, like 3 seconds, probably 15 stage points right there. Sucker, right? Then I shoot and just sit there. Yes, I beat him on the stage. Wasn't the difference in the match, but did I game him fair and square? Nick, what do you think about that? Deliberately misleading somebody.
The way he presents it's kind of funny and I guess, but I think it's kind of fair. I don't really have a huge problem with it the way laid out. I mean, it sounds like it's a pretty simple stage. It sounds like if jumping on the table is a valid option, that's probably something you should at least consider. The only thing that you might say is a little bit I don't know, unethical or whatever, is if you directly mislead the guy.
Oh, he did that.
I guess. But my only other thing I would say, if the guy understands the scoring system, then I don't really see it as super unethical then. If he's a brand new shooter, he doesn't really have a clue how the scoring system works, you're going to, if it's his first match, you're kind of leading him along, telling him what to do as an experienced guy or whatever, then it's, that's not cool. But if he's a big boy, he's been in matches before, he knows what's going on, he should be able to take information from any source, be it his buddy or somebody else, but at the end of the day, come up with his own stage plan. Right? That's my thoughts on it.
Gaston, I know you love it when guys do this, right?
No, I don't like it. What I can give you like a selfish answer. Maybe
I love
maybe this guy can use it. If you're gonna go that way, you're not gonna get so many friends, especially the top guys. So you're not gonna get advices. Eventually, you're gonna get isolated. So what I do is I rather share all my information because I will probably gain more information by sharing than what I would gain like I don't know, luring a guy into a mistake. So I am very very honest always with all my briefings, and when I see that a guy is lying with his briefings, and especially when it's deliberate, I'm not gonna hang out with that guy. That's for sure. And beside that, you don't want to spend your energy on trying to lure somebody. I read in the topic that afterwards that he missed like poppers, and it was a pretty plain stage. So when you waste your energy in something, you're gonna lose it. Eventually, you're gonna lose. So I don't like it.
It didn't sound like they're at Nationals with a bunch of Super Squad kind of guys here. Just throw it out there. I don't know if that matters or not, but it doesn't sound like they were in a fight to the death there at Nationals or anything like that.
No, I've been in the Super Squad in the Nationals like 2 times, and also in the US IPSC Nationals and the Extreme Open and several matches. And I always ask like Ben or Eric, and I've never seen a top guy doing that. What about you guys?
I've never seen a top guy doing this, but I've heard of top guys doing it, and it's always a little bit fishy. Like I'm not gonna name who has been accused of doing this, but I've heard of some guys who primarily shoot open. I've heard about it happening, but it's always like if you ask for details, it's never really apparent that that's what was happening. You know, it's like it'll be like, hey, he walked it through this way. He was talking about shooting it this way. I shot it that way, and he shot at the end, and he did something different. And you never know if it's like, well, maybe he just changed his mind or whatever. You never really know. But I can't say for sure that I know of any top guys that actually do this.
I don't know any. At least not any top world guy. Maybe here in my homeland, I did meet a few, but not in the top of the world super squads.
All right, so here's a hypothetical question for you. Okay, so the thread sounds like a couple of guys at a normal regular club match or whatever, but it sounds like the guy states I deliberately misled him verbally and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, I read everything.
Okay, so say you go, say you're at a match. It could be any match, big match, whatever. All right, you as a top guy, you see some stage, you think that, okay, I think I see a way to shoot this that probably no one else is going to think of. It's going to be really crazy. It's going to be awesome. No one's going to think of it, though. I'm the only guy that sees it. Are you gonna walk through the stage that way, or are you just going to kind of hang back and not walk through it? And
well,
you're kind of doing the same thing there, right? Just not quite as explicitly.
For me, it's the same thing, and I think Ben has the answer for that because we've talked a lot, and he knows me pretty much right now. We shared some information in the World Shoot, in the Nationals, now in the Extreme Open in Europe, and he can tell you what I would do. Ben, would I tell you or not?
Of course.
Even if my plan is crazy.
Yeah, you'll come up there and you'll be shouting it from a rooftop what your plan is. You'll be like, "This is the best plan! It's the best plan ever!"
And it usually is, motherfucker. I win with the plans I made up.
Yes,
you never want to do them because you say that they are crazy. Maybe that's good luck for me because then the plan goes straight the way I thought about it.
Yeah, there was that one stage at the World Shoot where you're like, I know, I'll just shoot the whole thing moving with little plates and poppers and stuff.
I did.
Yes, you did do that.
What the fuck happened with that stage? Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
The stage with the 2 moving target. Not only I won that stage in the World Shoot, or maybe I was like second at 99, but in
you
the
were
USA
second. You were pissed off at me for taking the stage away from you.
Yes. What happened in the USA PSA Nationals when we had when you had payback, and I still did the same briefing. Maybe you want to upload that. I think I have that stage.
You did the same. You did take it the second time, didn't you?
I did take it again, the same briefing, and I won it again.
I don't think you wanted the World Shoot because you were really mad at me for winning the stage, as I recall.
Maybe you did, but in the USA PSC Nationals, I won that stage. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, I think that sounds right to me.
Okay, that's even.
Doesn't matter, but yes, Nick, to answer your question, Gaston will be shouting it from a rooftop about how awesome his plan is.
Yeah.
I would be very happy about that.
All right, Gaston, would you think somebody's a shithead if they have a good plan for a stage and they're deliberately concealing it?
Not this guy of the topic, because posting it into the topic just that makes him a good guy, because he's like it's like he's almost asking for an apology. But if somebody does that, I don't think it's going to help him. Probably not. He's wasting a lot of energy, a lot of concentration in doing that. Like, you're not going to walk your briefing. That's very stupid. And I don't know if he's a good guy or not, but I wouldn't hang around with him.
All right, Nick. One guy posted in the thread, which it looked like I bet he's speaking for a lot of people, and he said, "Why don't you just try to shoot better than everyone else instead of trick fucking some dude?"
You know, it's a valid point, and your goal obviously should always be to shoot better yourself. You know, I think the thread, to me, it sounded like a couple of buddies that were kind of messing around a local match, and that happens obviously all the time. You see stuff, especially at locals, that guys just trying to irritate each other just because they're buddies, and to me, that kind of thing's not funny even at a local. But
it's not fun?
Not to me, like, you know.
Dude, I shoot locals like they're nationals.
I try to be pretty serious at locals, so you know, I'm not saying I would do this, but also, you know, at the same time, you're there to compete as well, right? Like, at what point do you stop trying to help people that you're trying to beat? I don't know. You know, probably depends how well you know them, how well you like them, stuff like that. It's a lot of factors that come into play. A lot of specifics about the situation that are going to matter.
I'll just say what I'll kind of echo what Gaston said, and I'll add in. You're going to be shooting against the same guys, like, repeatedly. Like, if some guy gets on the super squad, it's not an accident, usually. And he's going to be there for a while. And if you do something like this, it's going to work, like, once, maybe. And then it won't be good afterward. It's not
I don't think it's going to work. Maybe
wouldn't work.
No, maybe if you don't share information, I don't know. What do you think? That would help? Like, not sharing information?
Well, okay, among a group of Super Squad guys, what's the biggest thing you could say to mislead someone to shoot a really stupid stage plan? Like, I don't think that's going to work on somebody that's that good anyway. To do a plan that's just way worse than optimal.
And if you don't share, maybe you're going to fuck up real good time, like I do sometimes. And hopefully I will share Ben, and Ben will tell me that's stupid, and sometimes I would believe him. And that's more helpful than not sharing information. That's sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we beat this horse enough. I'm gonna put a link to this in the description on YouTube if anybody wants to go read this thread. Not much of a point to it. We pretty much discussed it, but whatever. Let's move on to a shooting question. I'm an avid sportsman, a competitive shooter, blah, blah, blah. I started shooting IDPA. Okay, what is the best, this guy wants to get better at shooting more accurately and transitioning between targets more quickly. What's the best dry fire and or live fire drills for improving these? And in your opinion, what does it take to become the best in the competitive shooting world? Nick, it's kind of a big question there. Getting better, more accurate, transitioning better. What are the best drills for that? We'll start with that one.
That was really, really broad question there.
No shit, right? We'll break it off. We'll go two parts.
Yeah, so lots of dry fire and lots of live fire. It's key. Yeah.
No, for shooting more accurately and transitioning better.
So for accuracy, for me personally, what I find is that accuracy, I got to work on that in live fire. You know, I can dry fire trigger pulse all day long, but for me at least, if I don't have the actual feedback from a shot and a hit on the paper, I don't find that I'm really making a whole lot of ground there. For stuff like transitions, I find that a lot more can be a lot more beneficial from I can gain ground in dry fire, confirm it with live fire. So gun handling, transitions, movement, all that kind of stuff. Like I like to dry fire that stuff, but when it comes to actually shot calling and being accurate at speed on small targets, I got to do that in live fire. It's just for me personally.
All right, Gaston, what about you? For transitions and accuracy. I know you don't do dry fire.
I have never dry fired in my life. Everything I've done is live shooting, but I did some, like, you can call it dry fire. My movements, I dry fire them. not even with a gun, with my hands. I practice how to move my legs. How do you call that when you move from one shooting stance to another? How do you call
We
that?
usually call that movement in the U.S., but everywhere else they call it transitions.
Yes, we call it transitions. Well, so that thing I practice it like maybe any other sportsman, like a tennis player or anybody else, with no gun, just with my hands, thinking about my legs. When I train, I like to. I never shoot stages. I always do the separate trainings, like accuracy, transitions from one target to the other one, transitions from one shooting stance to the other one, draw. I don't do dry firing draw. I just draw when I'm shooting. So I could tell him how to get better shooting. Like for example, I think he asked something about transitions.
Yes.
What's very important in transitions is once you have acquired your sights, with your eyes you're looking at a target. So what you want to do is just when you're about to press the trigger, you're gonna look to the other target. So in that way, your hand after you shoot is gonna move right. It's gonna be right. It's gonna want to go right behind your eyes. So what you're looking is where your hand's gonna go. So the faster you look to the other target, the faster your hand's gonna go. It would be important to talk about shooting with both eyes open. That's very important. I don't know what you think. Do you guys shoot with both your eyes open?
I think that's a prevailing technique in the U.S. Nick, you shoot with both eyes open, I think, right?
Yeah, most of the time. I kind of, what I see in video from my support side is that I kind of squint my eye a little bit, but I don't close it all the way. I think that's kind of what I typically do.
All right, Gaston, as far as for shooting more accurately, are there any specific exercises you do, live fire, that you really like?
Yes. Well, he has to learn not to move any part of his body before the bullet leaves the barrel. Okay. So the first thing that he wants to do is learn how to receive the kick of the gun without like preparing himself to stop the gun just before it's going to move, because the gun is accurate by itself. It doesn't need your help. You're just going to screw up. So he has to learn that first. Afterwards, what I like to do is shoot 6 shots or 8 shots to the same target. So I will just focus.
What sort of distance?
Not less than 15 yards.
Okay.
So
Well, you
Build
even
drill,
put it in yards for us.
Yes, I did. But
That's nice of you. Thank you.
That's no problem. It's the same as meters.
Yeah,
It's pretty much the same. So you want to shoot 15 yards, maybe 25 yards. And the first thing, I don't know, is this guy really an amateur?
I don't fucking know.
Okay. If he is, he wants to start and just shoot alphas and focus about his finger and stay steady until the
Do you use
bullet.
would you use a specific time limit?
No, never.
So
Your
just
time
like
limit?
15, 25 meters, 6, 8 shots, and just shoot alphas. Period.
Yes, as fast as you can. That's all. I don't use time limits. I think it's like forcing myself. What I do is I like to test myself in the local matches, and then I would know if I'm shooting fast enough or not. But if you're gonna force your movements, you're never gonna learn a pure technique, and you're gonna need a pure technique if you want to go to the top. Like for example, I have seen you do the same. We never train together, but you do the same that I do. When you have a very difficult target, you can see your gun flip and go down. That is because you're letting your muscle still until the bullet leaves the barrel. So it's impossible not to see the gun flipping. When you see a guy that the gun is still, he's probably compensating the gun before the bullet leaves the barrel. That's okay if you're 5 meters away.
If you're listening to the audio feed right now and you're not seeing the video capture, you're missing a treat. Gaston is using his hands to make the muzzle of the gun.
Okay.
Well done, Gaston. I love it.
We're gonna go again. You're gonna have guys that are not looking at the video, just listening.
Yes.
Okay. So can you describe what I have just done? Like
Yes.
when I see you shooting a very difficult target, I can see your gun flip up and go down.
So what I think what you're talking about, a lot of guys when they're shooting longer shots, and I'm not convinced this is a good habit, but like subconsciously people tend to loosen their grip up slightly, focus on the trigger control, and you see the gun flipping a little bit more. It's because people are focused just so much on making such a tough shot. And then on the closer range shooting, people bear down on the gun more, and you won't see it flip as much. That's what you're talking about, right?
No, that's not. Try if you're gonna, you can keep your hands very strong, and it's still gonna flip. It's physics.
So that's true, but they're not fighting the gun. Right? You're not fighting, but people aren't pushing the gun down before it goes off.
Yeah, it's talking about breaking the shot, breaking your wrist down before the shot actually occurs.
Oh, yeah, well that'd be a real bad deal.
No, you must never break your wrist. I just put my gun back with my shoulders. I just let it recoil, and then I move my shoulders back down. I try to have my wrist solid.
Okay, good. Let's move on to the next part of this question. For you, Mr. Nick, what does it take to become the best in the competitive shooting world? Is that specific enough? I think it is.
I guess when I become the best in the competitive shooting world, I'll know the answer to that.
You're pretty fucking good. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it
takes
a lot of commitment to get to a high level, you know.
What did you say in the pre-show, Gaston? You're going to forfeit your life? Is that what you said?
If he wants to get competitive, yeah, he has to forfeit his life and have a lot of money and shoot a lot of rounds. I'm not gonna lie to him. Maybe you can with your dry firing books, but I won't.
Hey, when I won nationals, I shot 20,000 rounds that year. Okay,
so or another option is like you get born like super. How do you call? Like a nerd of the sport, like is big brain of the sport like Ben, and that's not gonna happen to you because you're not Ben right now. Okay,
oh,
so that's not a proper answer for that guy.
Yes. So
you and your dry fire is not the answer he's looking for.
All right, Gaston. So most people in the U.S. do a lot of dry fire. I would say, like the guys who train are probably gonna dry fire like 3, 4, 5 days a week, something like that. They're doing it pretty regularly. So when they hear a really good shooter such as yourself say you never dry fire, they might get a little confused by that. Yeah.
Would you say Eric dries fire?
No, I'm sure he doesn't, but that doesn't confuse me.
No. But what has he told you about dry firing? Does he dry fire?
I haven't had a conversation with him about it. I just assume he doesn't.
Okay, you should make a broadcast with him.
Well, but you can't speak for Eric. You can speak for yourself. You never dry fire, and you're good. And you're good.
I'm okay.
How many live rounds do you shoot?
Yes, that Nick is getting to the question. Like, how many rounds do you shoot in a year?
100,000.
Okay, there you go. So your dry fire is live fire.
Yes. I don't have time to dry fire actually.
Yeah, no, you're too busy shooting live ammo.
I am.
So most of us can't afford 100,000 rounds a year, so we dry fire what we can.
Well, it's cheap in Argentina, isn't it, Gaston?
Well, I don't know.
Not anymore, but I don't know. I don't pay for them anymore. But
you're actually an employee of Bursa, right? Is that correct?
Something like that.
Okay.
Yes, but my first 400,000 rounds came out of my pocket. I had to work like a firearm as a firearm instructor, and I had a little money, but
now you spend it all on bullets.
Yes.
Smart.
Now I could get back a decent car.
After all that, now he gets free guns, so it's worth it.
Yes.
You get free bursts, all the bursts you can shoot.
I have a lot. I have like 20 bursts, yeah, or more. But not because they break, okay?
So
Okay.
Let me ask this as well. Why do you not dry fire? Is it I have no idea. Is it due to you? Are you allowed to have guns at home in Argentina, or is it
Yes.
some other reason?
Yes.
Okay. So you literally don't dry fire just because you simply don't have enough time after shooting so much.
Yes, because I rather shoot live ammo. Yes.
All right. That's interesting.
Well, what are you going to do? If you guys want to shoot 100,000 rounds a year for 4 years and get really good, then you're going to have all the bursts you can shoot as well.
That's the deal. Yeah.
Pretty good.
And you have to live here in Argentina. I don't know how many Americans would do that. What about you, Ben?
No.
Do you want to come down
way.
south?
No fucking way.
I'll
come visit. I'll come visit, but I'm not going to live there. This is not happening.
Okay, I'm still going to be the Bursa guy then.
Yeah, you're going to be the Bursa guy.
Okay.
Yeah, you got that sewed up, man. I don't know.
No, but really, at the beginning of my career, I did dry fire a little bit. But as soon as I could afford my bullets, I didn't dry fire. And probably that's why I suck so much in my draw, and my reloads, they're not very good. And that's probably because I don't dry fire. Now we're being serious, okay?
So why would you, when you do dry fire, you said you dry fire movement, why would you do that without the gun if you have the option to do it with the gun?
I don't know. I don't even... I am such a perfectionist that I only like to shoot precision exercises or transitions. I don't like the reloads that much. Mag changes. You don't call it a reload, right? You call it a mag change.
Call it a reload.
Yeah, reload.
Okay. And my draw is not that good. I'm going to start working on that. But that was because I didn't feel I was ready about accuracy and speed while shooting. I feel I am now, so I'm going to start to do a homework. I like shooting. I don't like reloading. I don't like throwing.
Nick was asking why, when you did movement transition stuff, like moving from one position to another, why you did that without the gun in your hand.
Oh, because I suck so much at moving that I had a sport instructor, and we go to a government establishment where all the sportsmen train, and I started to do like regular sportsman train because I was like Stephen Hawking's wheelchair.
So you're talking about some generic movement training,
exactly.
Like
yes.
Sportsman training, yeah. Okay.
Generic movements and focus to IPSC kind of movements, but yes, I try to become like a sportsman because I really suck.
Love the confidence, Gaston.
Thank you.
All right. You guys have anything else to say about the shooting question? I think we have covered it pretty well. Yeah.
He's got to shoot a lot, and dry fire will help, of course, but in my opinion, he's going to have to fire a lot of rounds.
And also, the important thing was forfeit his life.
Forfeit his life is, yes, quite important. I have a supportive wife.
Or, if you don't have a supportive wife, which I do, this isn't direct. I'm not directing this at my wife, but if you don't have a supportive wife, maybe you just have to be kind of an asshole to her and just do what you want. Or you could be like Nick and be single.
That's all.
These are all options. All options. All right, Gaston, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure we'll have you back because people probably think you have a pretty sexy accent. They're going to want you back.
Gracias, caballero.
Oh, I didn't really catch that, but okay.
That means that you're such a handsome guy.
Well,
and your hair looks great. And I love the umbrellas you have there. Can you show the umbrellas to the audience?
I can.
Because maybe the audience is wondering why I am so brown and you're so white. This just because of that.
I got lighting.
Guys?
Boom, and over on this side, lighting.
The guys that don't have video yet, the guys that I don't know why a guy would just listen to this if everybody has video. Maybe in the US some guys don't have video, but Ben has like some umbrellas that are like
Gaston, people listen to it in the car when they're driving to work.
Oh, but you can watch a video while driving. You know I've done that.
Jesus
don't
Christ. It's such a bad idea.
You didn't see me watching a video in Czech Republic while driving?
No, I saw it, but I'm going to pretend I didn't.
Okay. Okay.
All
That's
right.
pretty cool.
All right, and Nick, thank you for coming on again, and we'll probably have you back at some point too, because you're kind of funny. All right.